The following question reads that the first part of the question reads, what is meant by the term enthalpy change of hydration? So the definition for that is that it's the energy released when 1 mole of gaseous ions are completely surrounded by water to form 1 mole of aqueous ions. And right in the next step, they are asking you to write an equation that represents the enthalpy change of hydration of the magnesium 2 plus ions. So we're going to do just that. So it's going to be Mg2 plus gaseous ions. We're going to mix it in water and it's going to change into Mg2 plus aqueous ions. Now remember that this is energy release. It's an exothermic process because the ions are bonding to water molecules. Now the next part of the question is, suggest a reason why enthalpy of hydration of magnesium ion is greater than the enthalpy change of hydration of calcium ions. So the first thing is that between Mg2 plus and Ca2 plus, Mg2 plus ion is a smaller ion. It has a smaller ionic radius. It's higher up in the periodic table. They're in the same group. So it has one shell. It is less. It has one shell lesser. So it's a smaller ion. Smaller ions have greater charge density. So much greater charge density, which is why it would form stronger bonds with water. So stronger bonds with water are going to be formed, which would result in more exothermic enthalpy change of hydration. Now the next part of the question is, part 4 of the question states, suggest why it is important to determine the enthalpy change of hydration, why it is impossible to determine the enthalpy change of hydration of the oxide ion. So first let's think of the equation that's going to be, it's going to be oxygen 2 minus gaseous ions. You'll add them to water and they would change into oxygen 2 minus aqueous ions. Now the issue with this is that this reaction is actually not possible because oxygen ions, when you mix them in water, they don't actually form aqueous ions. What actually happens is that if you add an oxide to water, it actually ends up reacting with the water. Instead of changing into aqueous ions, it changes into hydroxide ions. So this reaction is impossible. Why? Because oxide ions end up reacting with water. You must have remembered that all those oxides, magnesium, sodium oxide, calcium oxide, they all change into hydroxides when you add water to it. So instead of actually simply dissolving in water, they actually end up reacting with water. So this reaction is actually not possible because so dissolving oxide ions and changing them into aqueous ions is literally impossible in a solution. Now the next part of the question is that the enthalpy change of solution of MgCl2. So there's enthalpy change of solution of MgCl2 solid is represented by the following equation. So MgCl2 mixing in water, it dissociates and changes into aqueous ions. Describe a simple apparatus you could use and the measurements you would make in order to determine the value of enthalpy change of solution of MgCl2 in the laboratory. Now it's a simple experiment. You're just going to take MgCl2 salt and you're going to dissolve it in water and you're going to measure the temperature change. You're going to measure the energy change that is associated with this reaction. Take MgCl2, mix it in water, it dissociates, dissolves and measure the temperature change. So that's what you're going to do. So here's the simple apparatus, MgCl2, put some water in it and use a thermometer to measure the energy change, the temperature change that's going to happen. So what are the values that you need for this to measure the enthalpy change of solution? So the first thing is, remember energy change is measured using Q is equal to MC delta T. So the first thing is you would need delta T. How would you need, so to measure the temperature change, you would need to measure two things. So these are the two things that you need to measure. The initial temperature before you added MgCl2 and the final temperature after you've added MgCl2. You probably used, you're going to use this as a stirrer to mix MgCl2 in this. So the final temperature has to be measured as well to measure the change in temperature. The other thing is specific heat capacity. That's for water. That must already be known, so you don't need to measure that. It's given in the data booklet. It's 4.18 joules per gram per Kelvin. Mass would be needed. The mass of water. Remember, we're measuring the energy change of this water. So mass of water would be needed, and the last thing is you would need the mass of MgCl2 as well. Why would you need the mass of MgCl2 so you can calculate the moles of MgCl2? Because you want to know what you would measure the energy change using Q is equal to mc delta T, but you would also need to know that this energy change is associated with how many moles of MgCl2. So the mass of MgCl2 that you are adding to the mixture, that is important, because then you can use ratios and figure out the energy change for 1 mole. So these are the values that you need for this experiment. These are the measurements that you need to make. Let's move to the next part of the question, which state that the table below lists data relevant to the formation of MgCl2. So there's a table given with lots of information. There's enthalpy of formation of MgCl2 solid, that's given. Enthalpy of formation of MgCl2 aqueous, that is provided. The lattice energy of MgCl2 is given, and the enthalpy change of hydration is also provided. Now, by constructing relevant thermochemical cycles, use the above data to calculate the value for the enthalpy change of solution of MgCl2 solid. So, enthalpy of solution. What is the equation for enthalpy of solution? Take MgCl2 solid, mix it in water, and it becomes MgCl2 aqueous. So, you need to figure out this enthalpy change of solution. That is what you need to calculate. Now, if you look carefully, then you would notice that MgCl2 solid is already provided in the question, the enthalpy of formation. So you have the enthalpy of formation of MgCl2 solid, and you also have the enthalpy of formation of MgCl2 aqueous. Both these values are given in the table over here. So if the enthalpies of formation of the reactants are provided and the enthalpy of formation of the products are also provided, then there's a simple formula, which is that the enthalpy change of that particular reaction, which in this case is enthalpy of solution, would be the enthalpy of formation of products minus the enthalpy of formation of my reactants. So hopefully you're familiar with this formula, that if in a reaction enthalpy of formations are provided, then it's products minus reactants. So we're going to try and calculate that now. For the products first, the product is MgCl2 aqueous. The enthalpy of formation is given as minus 801. So that is provided. The enthalpy of formation of my reactants is minus 641. So I'm going to subtract that, minus 641, and let's try and calculate this. And the value that I'm getting on my calculator is minus 160. So that is the answer to this question. Now in the next part, they are asking to figure out the enthalpy of hydration of Cl ions. Now for this enthalpy of hydration of Cl ions, if you remember carefully, I'm going to draw a small thermochemical cycle, a Hess cycle, related to solution, because we have figured out the enthalpy change of solution just now. So let's try and draw that. So this over here is the enthalpy change of solution. MgCl2 solid changes into MgCl2 aqueous. This value is already known, minus 160. What are the two steps that are required? The first step is, if you're trying to dissolve MgCl2 solid, the first step is you break the lattice. That is the negative of lattice energy. Breaking the lattice and changes into Mg2 plus and 2Cl minus 1 gaseous ions. And in the next step, you mix those ions into water and they hydrate. They change into aqueous ions. So this would be the enthalpy change of hydration of Mg2 plus the enthalpy change of hydration of Cl minus 1 but multiplied by 2. Now we know that one path is equal to the other path according to Hess law. So we're going to just do that. So that means minus 160 is basically equal to, it's equal to the negative of lattice energy. So let's go back, and the data is given in the table. The negative of lattice energy, that's going to be 2526. So minus 2526, if you put a minus sign in front of it, it becomes 2526. The other values are enthalpy change of hydration of magnesium ions. So remember, one path is equal to this other path. So enthalpy change of hydration of magnesium ions, that is also given in the table. That's the last value that was provided. That's given in the table. It's minus 1890. So that would be minus 1890 plus enthalpy change of hydration of Cl ions into 2. That is unknown. So plus 2 times x, because I don't know what this value is. So one path is equal to the other path. Minus 160 is equal to the negative of lattice energy plus enthalpy change of hydration of magnesium ions plus enthalpy of hydration of Cl ions into 2. This is the value that is not known. And after doing my calculations, the value that I get on my calculator for x is minus 398. So the answer is going to be minus 398 kilojoules per mole. So that is going to be my final answer for the enthalpy of hydration of Cl ions after finding and solving this equation and solving for x. Now let's move to the next question, which is I need to describe and explain how the solubility of magnesium sulfate compares to that of barium sulfate. And it's a 4-mark question. So let's try and write this down. Now I've written the standard answer for this question, because this question is going to come very, very frequently in your exams. And the answer is that the solubility of sulfates, the first thing is, decreases down group 2. Magnesium sulfate is more soluble, while barium sulfate is not very soluble. Why is that? Because if ionic radius increases, down the group, remember, magnesium ion is smaller, and as you move down the group, barium ions are much bigger. So the ionic radius increases, and bigger ions, they don't form bonds, and they don't form very strong bonds, which means that it's easier to break those bonds, and the bonds that are formed are not going to be very strong. So both lattice energy and enthalpy change of hydrations, they both decrease. Remember, when you're trying to dissolve, for example, this solubility cycle, when you're trying, the first step is you break the lattice. The ionic lattice needs to be broken. So as you move down the group, the value would decrease, because there would be weaker lattices. Bigger ions don't form very strong lattices. So this value would decrease. And this is an endothermic process, because you're breaking bonds. And then they're going to form bonds with water. Bigger ions, they don't form very strong bonds, which is why the enthalpy change of hydration, gaseous ions bonding with water to form aqueous ions, this value would also decrease. So both values are going to decrease, but lattice energy decreases less, which basically means that the overall enthalpy change of solution would become more endothermic. Why would it become more endothermic? Because if lattice energy decreases less, which means lattice energy is still bigger, which means a lot of energy would be required to break the lattice compared to the energy that is released during the bond formation. Once the ions are broken, once the lattice is broken, they're going to form bonds with water. And if they're not going to release a lot of energy, that means the overall process would become more endothermic. So this is the answer to this question. Now, a more detailed explanation for this is given in one of my video lectures. You can search this on the channel, and you're going to find one very detailed explanation for this.